Good evening. Cincinnati Museum Center brings some 1.3 million visitors through its doors to see historical, cultural, scientific, and just plain fun exhibits for all ages.
But the old train station that houses the museums is starting to crumble, so much so that a fix is necessary, urgent in fact, if the facility is to have a long life. Local 12 News reporter Jeff Hirsh joins us live at the terminal with more on what was discussed today and what could happen in the future. Jeff.
Well, good evening. I'm not sure how many people out there have heard of the Tax Levy Review Commission in Hamilton County. It's a fairly small, obscure agency with a lot of clout. Today, that panel told county commissioners not to put a museum center levy on the ballot in May, as the museum center wants to do, but rather to insist on a long-term repair plan for this building before anything goes to the voters.
The 1930s Art Deco Cincinnati Union Terminal, now the Museum Center, is a local icon, perhaps nearly as much as Fountain Square. But Union Terminal is falling apart.
Well, the steel is rusting in the building, which is really endemic all the way through the building. It keeps getting worse and worse.
Price tag to fix it $120 to perhaps $180 million. The Museum Center wanted to put an operating levy on the ballot next May. That's just a levy to keep the place running, not long-term improvements. But the county's Tax Levy Review Commission said no. You need a commitment for a long-term fix first.
And I think what tugged at us a lot was that without a plan to fix the Union Terminal building, we felt that continuing to fund significant dollars toward kind of a patchwork repair was not a good use of taxpayer funding.
The review panel told county commissioners that the long-term plan is needed by July. A commitment from private and government sources to pay for the repairs.
There's a sense of urgency now. We need the urgency. We need to have a plan. We need to have something that people step up and say, yes, this is what we will do.
If come July the long-range plan is in place, then the tax review panel says an operating levy is okay for November. Not a lot of time to preserve the future of a Cincinnati icon.
That's a 100 to 200 year solution once it's done. We just have to get it done at some point. It's going to have to be done, and we think the time to do it is now.
So the Museum Center has got to put together this task force to try to find this public-private partnership by July. Now, one idea is federal tax credits. That will reduce the amount of money that's necessary to do all this rehab. A consultant, though, has said that you cannot rely exclusively on private philanthropy. There's just not enough money in this community to fix this place. It'll be contributing, they want it, but it's not going to pay for everything. So that leaves it to government. Does that mean taxes? Does that mean bonds? You know, the city of Cincinnati owns the building, but you can't pay for everything by canceling the streetcar. So there's a lot of figuring out to do before July. Live at Union Terminal, Jeff Hirsh, Local 12 News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. While Union Terminal is primarily the museum center, it also remains what it started out to be, a train station. Amtrak serves the terminal in the wee hours of the morning, running between New York and Chicago, but there are only 6 trains a week, down from more than 200 a day that the terminal handled in its prime.